Guess who's back?
Go ahead,
Back
keep singing.
Shady's back. Oh, sorry.
We're not shady. I mean, we're
some
not.
of our topics, though, we get
Some of our topics
into the nitty-gritty, don't we?
Yes.
But not today. I think today's will be a good, fun topic. Sometimes we get serious because you have to, because baseball, I mean, think about it. When you're living that life, there's sometimes...
It's just, do you miss it?
I do.
I'm starting to miss it. We've been out a month and a half. And Cooper hits Tuesday and Thursday with the hitting coach. And I was just like, I'm just going to go watch him. And it was so neat to see him just have a bat in his hands again. I mean, he does all the time. I just don't see it, But I'm like, gosh, I'm starting to miss baseball. But I want to enjoy the next few months before we get into crazy high school season. But you just miss it once in a while, right?
We had concession stand duty at the high school.
What?
A couple of Fridays ago. What?
For what?
Well,
like
baseball.
I'm all mad for you. Wait,
baseball,
you're doing concession stand duty for baseball
because
already?
as a fundraiser.
Oh.
Isn't that great?
How's that work?
You get a portion for the parents that sign up. Like, I guess they will pay as workers, but it goes towards the team. So, like, if we want to purchase
gear or
like uniforms or a certain. See, that's the thing with ours. We had this conversation a few episodes ago about how some high schools are super lucky. They have someone that graduates and then donates $20,000 a year.
Oh yeah,
and they every year get new uniforms and new bags and matching this and matching that. And that's not how we roll at our high school.
I think we need to slum it too.
So did concession stand, but it was it got me kind of like, okay.
Excited?
Yes.
What did you do concession stand for? What sport?
Football game.
Sweet.
But it was
Jenny,
senior night.
Perfect for them.
And it was, seeing some of the senior, you're like, oh my gosh, it was sad.
Can you imagine? I've been seeing this on Facebook lately with my friends posting their
senior
football,
Sundays.
A lot of their football or their fall sports where it's a senior volleyball, softball. I get like teary-eyed for my friends, and then to think that in a year and a half that would be like Jason Cooper.
I know. I can't think about it.
Think about it.
Yes.
I know.
I'm going to have to get into therapy over it probably.
Yeah, that's going to be so bad. Well, you still have Reed.
Rito, yeah.
I still have Scout, but you don't
I wanted to have 4. I should have had 4.
You should have. You would have ended up with a girl and you would have been it. Not all girls dance, though. I know that you don't like the pitter-patter. What do you do? See, I think that would be neat because that's not something I experienced, so that would be kind of neat to see. Scout was never into dance, but that would be a whole new world for you. No, you'd rather stick to the baseball diamond. Yes. Okay, speaking of baseball, let's just get to it because I'm hungry.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Are you hungry? Thanks for the mint. This will hold me over.
Yes.
Okay, let's get to it.
Let's talk about it.
Jen, so I wrote a bunch of stuff because we're going to talk about preparing to be a college athlete. I know when I was texting with you, I know I played college basketball. It's not baseball, but back in the day, and I'm talking close to, if I'm 46, close to 30 years ago, maybe, it was a lot different. So I don't even want to compare my experience to what the kids nowadays have to go through because we weren't playing year round back then. We weren't playing, we played on club basketball teams and stuff like that, but it was not nearly as intense. I think social media has blown things up with the recruiting process. And of course, I'm not talking about the recruiting part of it though. I'm just talking about, I know what I did to prepare, and a lot of what I'm saying now is because I see Cooper doing this, and he would absolutely kill me if he knew I was saying this stuff about him, but he doesn't watch our show. He's not one of our many fans. One of our, what did I say last show, 8 fans. He's not one of those. He does not watch the show. So I am going to be saying a lot of stuff, just watching and observing what he is doing, because I think he is, for 16, is really, it's very knowledgeable for him because he researches this stuff and he does this stuff. So I'm just saying what I see in him. And then, of course, what I have heard from watching the other guys that have this show. They're terrific. And I learn a lot from them, hearing what they say that athletes need to do to get to the next level. So I've kind of grabbed a little bit from both. Obviously, academically, we don't really need to talk about that. But obviously you have to
But you do, it is part of it.
It is. It's very, very important. Yeah, to complete a certain number of high school courses. This is what I kind of like Googled. You have to earn a certain minimum grade in core courses, earn a minimum score on the SAT, ACT, graduate high school. Obviously, academics is very important. Unfortunately, that wasn't my focal point, so I'm really sorry if people were coming on hoping they would learn from me on academics, because not my thing.
But I think the academics, like you said, is super important. The other part of it is the balance with academics.
Yes.
Because college, it's going to be different as well. And
like the balancing
you have to be able to take on, because being a part of a team in college, it's like a full-time job. It's a lot of work, practices, traveling, playing, and you still do have to go to school, and you still have to get good grades. So you need to learn before you get there. You can't expect to start school and be like, okay, now I got to figure out a system for me. Like, now is the time to start figuring out how to balance that. That, how do I get my schoolwork done? How do I get all my, playing and keeping up with that part of it, the training and the practices. And I also think it's healthy for any, high school, college student that is an athlete. They have to have a little bit of a social life too. Like there has to be something, if it's
a balance,
So, and it can be overwhelming and given up.
100%.
Sometimes you can't figure out what that is.
Right. No, that you're exactly right. Obviously, academics is the most important key of it. I should have probably made that more of a focal point. But I've kind of focused more on the physicality side of it, because obviously I think getting a grades is kind of a given. You have to get decent grades in order to go on to the next and even go to college, But the physicality part, I think, and I'm just saying this because I'm kind of old school, and I played college at a level. I mean, it wasn't the highest level, but when I started college, I mean, it does take over your life being a college athlete. It really does. And what you said, I mean, I wasn't always great at balancing my grades in high school, but then going to college, it was way more time focused on basketball that I had to stay up. I mean, we missed classes because we were out of town. I mean, you have to stay on top of that type of stuff. So what you said is so important, because I wrote it down in here somewhere, like starting early to try to balance those, so you're not getting to college and you're like, oh, shell shock, like what is going on? I mean, we're focused on baseball, so I'm just going to talk baseball. Like, all of a sudden baseball's taking up all this time. I forgot how to balance my schoolwork or something like that. So that is very important. This is just what I'm learning, because I didn't do all this stuff in high school. So nowadays with baseball, I think the number one thing that I see Cooper do is he eats really good. And I know you're going to love that, because
I do love it.
I eat like crap. And I'm like, I'm buying all these vegetables and fruit for him. But now my husband, Drew, eats really, really well. My daughter and I could improve. We just like things that are.
You like what you like?
You like what you like, right? But anyway, I knew that you would enjoy that. Since spring, he has put on 20 pounds. I think he was 185 in the spring, but he wasn't working out as much because of his surgery. But now he weighs 20 pounds more, but he's lifting. He's eating 4,000 calories a day, but he's eating the right stuff. He's not going to McDonald's and eating a Whop. You know what I mean? Like, he's eating good stuff. He's measuring his food every day. He's measuring how much protein.
That is discipline, especially for a kiddo at 16.
16, I think it's kind of a little over the top, but he is. You ever have one of those kids that is just so hyper focused on something that you can't mess with? You can't mess with Cooper's vision. I've noticed that from even when he was little. If he had something in mind, don't get in his way.
See, and those are not my boys, but that's me.
That's you.
That's my personality.
Yeah, like don't. And I'm always like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "Mom, I know what I'm doing." So anyway, but he does a lot of the background research. He has books. He's getting on YouTube. He's watching college baseball coaches talk about what to do.
Do you think he could maybe contact my kids, because we try to explain that to Reed, that nutrition and how important, and protein, and to make sure that your carbs are with a protein. No naked carbs. Throw in some of your protein in there.
I think Reed's just fine.
Oh, bless his heart. Yes, he eats a box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch a day.
I just had that for breakfast. I'm not joking. Not a box, but one of those.
Do our kids get mixed at the hospital?
Oh my gosh, really?
That's what he is obsessed with. And I'm like, I'm not saying never to have, that's not my thing. Kids should be kids and they should. But if your goal is to play and you want to get bigger and stronger, you have to be conscious, like Coop is, about what you're putting in your body.
That's funny because you're so health conscious.
So and I know it's so frustrating. And the supplements and we do all of that. And I am so tired of being like, did you take your probiotic? Did you take your, muscle mat? Did you, all this stuff? And eventually I'm like, I can't hold your hand when you're in college. Here's the thing. If you're not going to learn and be disciplined, then you have to learn the hard way.
Yeah. And some kids just have to learn the hard way, right?
Yes.
Reed's going to be just fine.
He'll be fine. He'll be fine in a lot of ways.
Can put you in he can put you in a really great mood at 8 a.m. when you're eating that type of breakfast. I think.
It's breakfast, lunch. One day, that's all he ate the entire day.
I love Reed could be my child. I solely believe there's 2 things in life I know that are, 3 things. I know Jesus. Number 2, people that eat more sugar, I think, tend to be happier. Number 3, people that decorate for Christmas earlier are happier people. Believe that. So those are, how Mayberry's mind, that's my mind.
That's your mind.
And so many people disagree with that, and I totally get it because science would not back that up. But I happen to believe it. I've been okay, and I've lived on sugar. That is not something I'm advocating, though. But I like it. And poor Reed, let him eat a box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch. That's not the worst thing you can eat.
I know.
I mean, I can think of candy for breakfast. I've done that. Candy corn. Okay, let's just go on. Okay, so, but I am going to go into that about kind of what you were talking about. Amount of calories. Because he wants to maintain this weight. Also, and I'm probably saying things that people already know, like, okay, lift. He doesn't miss a gym day. Sometimes he'll go twice, which I'm not crazy about. I think that's overload, but he doesn't do that. He does do that. You hit and work. One of the shows I was just watching the other day on this, I forget who it was, Drew, you paying attention to us? Okay, good. Someone was talking about how defense, you can't let go of, like, you can't not work on defense. People always say they want to hit, but you still have to work on throwing and defense, and sometimes defense can fall by the wayside. This is all just about having a work ethic. But then I think sometimes this is hard for high school kids. I don't believe a lot of them, like, you could say, I want to play college baseball. But that's, you could just say that, but if you're not backing up, if you're not practicing outside of practice, if you're not watching nutrition, lifting, making sacrifices, and this is very hard for high school kids. This is not as hard for Cooper, because again, it's more hard on me. I think this is a big one. Like, there have been so many times where he's missed going to a party the night before because he's had a game the next day. It doesn't matter if the game's at 8 or 12. He is going to get the appropriate amount of sleep, and he's going to focus on getting his mind ready, which I know 16 years old, he's a little, like I said, too hyper-focused, but he will skip a party or a social event to make sure he's ready for the next day. I think there needs to be more of a balance with my kid. I also think if kids, there can be a balance there, and that's all comes with sacrifice. I'm not saying kids should miss parties if they have something the next day, but maybe they don't stay out as late, or
right. Finding that a little bit of both, and I think that Coop is probably
a little too extreme there.
Yeah, and that's okay too, because to each their own. That's the thing.
Yes,
personalities and different people.
Yes.
Complement each other.
Oh, we talked about that before the show, Brian and
I. If everybody were the same, what a boring world it would be. So I think that him doing, because that is him. But there are some of those things that are going to benefit him. And I think there'll be some of those things that he will learn to balance more.
Sure.
At
With
some
the
point,
social
yes.
aspect. Because being social is important too. I think it's more about picking and choosing when's the right time. Or if you go, just don't stay out till midnight. Come home at 10. But that's just his way of thinking. You know, Drew and I've tried to talk to him, but there's no talking to that. You know, he can do what he wants. But here's another sacrifice. Say like Cane's. Like if all your buddies, they all hang out at Cane's. You know, we live in Cotterville, so there's Cane's right there. There's Chick-fil-A. They're always at Cane's, and and I'm like, it's so funny because his best friend's birthday was just the other day, and I'm like, Cooper, should we get him a Cane's gift card or should I get him a gas gift card? He goes, get him. His name's Drew. He's like, get Drew a gas gift card. I don't want to meet in Cane's. I'm like, Cooper, not everybody is on that path. And so I'm like, so what happens when I'm on Life 360 and I'm looking, you're at Cane's? I was like, are you eating it? And he goes, well, no, I go to Chick-fil-A and get like a chicken breast or something, and I just eat it on the way there, and then I just hang out with them there. And I'm like, well, that's fine. But it's okay you're talking to me. It's okay to splurge. I splurge every day. It's okay to not eat perfect all the time.
Yes. I call it the 80-20 rule.
There you go.
If you're good 80% of the time, 20% of the time you have to live life.
Yeah.
And
like
that's
that.
just how it works. I was on vacation recently, and I am going to go and I am going to have a great time. And those are the things. And then being able to come back and then be like, okay, it's time to get back to eating right and working out and doing those things that I think that some of that comes with age, though. I think that when we are talking to kids that are 16 and 17 and 18, even their minds, as much as we see them, and they're so much bigger than us, like we look up to our kids now, you know, it's one of those, but they are kids still. And their minds are not 100%.
Yep.
So the things that I feel like I've learned through the years of life, like it's like, oh, if you would have, you know, known this sooner, but then you always kind of think it would have been wasted. I think there's a song, you know me and my songs, that say something about that it would be wasted on the youth if it wouldn't be as fun if they didn't have time to allow themselves to make mistakes and do things and be silly, because at some point then you do become the parent and the adult. And so we know. So I think Cooper is an exceptional kid, and that this is not necessarily what every kid, but it's great. And I think that he will get on his own time. He will, some of those.
Right. Believe me, Jenny, I've had so many conversations like this. I don't think this is normal. But he's like, Mom, this is what I want to do, and I am focused on a goal, and I'm going to do it. So I don't really waste time trying to change him anymore. As long as I see him being healthy in other areas of life, and he still does have a social life. He just doesn't go out when he has to play the next day, you know, and most of the time, you know, he might go out and stay out till 9 or 10, but then he won't, you know, stay out. He just makes those types of things. I'm like, doing something like that's better in my mind as a mom than not going at all.
And bless his heart, let's hope that wherever he ends up going to school and playing baseball, that his roommate is not the opposite of him and makes him
my gosh,
here's the thing, the baseball players, they stay together. And I actually know a kiddo that this was his goal. He was a lot like Cooper and disciplined to the core and didn't focus in everything. And he, you know, very much like that. And he is playing and did get a full ride scholarship, and he's at a D1 school and he loves it. But the baseball players live together. They have dorms and apartments. And
did he get stuck with someone opposite?
So the kiddo that I know, he does not drink. He's not a partier, very disciplined. And he was with someone who is every night going out.
Oh, no.
And is so you also have to learn that.
So did he morph into that person, or did he stay?
I think he's stuck true to who he is. But you have to learn to accept that not everybody is going to be like you. So it's going to also be a challenge.
Trust me. We just had this conversation today. He texted me today. He goes, Mom, you will not believe what happened at school. And I'm like, you know, you're not supposed to be on your phone. But like, I'm on my break, and my house is like, what? Are you okay? You know, there is a crumble cookie club at my school. And I'm like, oh my gosh, where do I sign up? That's what I'm saying. He's like, Mom, no. Can you believe this? They're promoting this. I'm like, oh my gosh, Cooper. So that's a lot of times that's the type where I'm like, Coop, you're so hyper focused on your goal. You focus. This is when you need to focus on yourself and not worry about what other people are eating, and not worry about that.
And I've got Reed sending me text, my new white shirt, I got a stain. Do we got stain remover at home? That's what he's worried about.
Yeah. Hey.
Yes, child, we have stain remover. It's fine.
Mama Jenny will take care of it, Reed.
Yes.
Okay, so I have a few more. Obviously, stay off drugs, alcohol. That's kind of a given, right? But be a student of the game. Study it. Watch a lot of college baseball. Cooper's on YouTube a lot, watching how to certain hitting or throwing or defensive techniques. I really believe, like, sometimes when you're a student of the game, you just never stop growing when you learn. When you never stop learning about it, and I think that's just an advantage in anything in life. You know what I mean? Just continuing to be a student and trying to get as much information as you can. I'm a very big proponent of good sleep. He does not always get good sleep because of his work schedule and his workout schedule, but for the most part, I think that's really important. I think that's overlooked, especially by teenagers. But for the most part, he does okay. But and anyway, I just said at the end, work ethic's a huge part. Some kids either have it, or in some need motivation. But in the end, it's up to them. So. For instance, again, circling back to the point where there's so many kids that just can talk and say, I want. But listen, if and this may sound crazy, I know.
Actions speak louder than words.
And I know this sounds nuts, and I'm not getting on here to promote. I'm not trying to do any of that. I'm just saying my perspective, and I also think genetics is a big part. My husband was a natural athlete. I think, especially if you're a natural athlete, I think Cooper kind of got that from Drew. Like, that certainly helps if you can combine that with hard work. Just your parents' genetics, I think, from what I've are important. But anyway, like I said, so many people say that they want to do it, but why not? I'm not saying it has to be that extreme, but I also think when I'm always like, but Cooper could be doing worse things, and I keep telling myself, well, he's not going to be shell-shocked when he gets to college, because he's already going to have this foundation of hard work and what it takes to be a college athlete, I think. And not that he has any clue right now. He's not in the realm of playing with college players. He's not. We're hopeful he gets to play somewhere in college, but you just never know. But I also think it's not going to be as hard for him to adjust because he's laying this work down.
And that's the thing. Three things come to mind for me. Mm-hmm. One, I always tell my kids that be prepared for it to always be ever changing, because things can change on a dime. And Reed learned that this last year, and you have to learn to adjust and focus on what you can and cannot control. Yeah. Because there are always going to be some things that you cannot.
Yes.
I think that always be prepared to expect the unexpected, because I think that no matter how much you prepare for certain things, you won't be able to, things like that, like a roommate, you'll be like, whoa, that was a curveball. Didn't expect that. Or coaches. You might have a certain personality for a coach and get into college and it's complete opposite, and you have to learn to adjust a little bit. And
that
I think
important. That's very important.
The hardest thing for me, but I have told my kids this, and I would be lying if I didn't say it would make me sad, or it doesn't make me sad thinking about it, but that it's okay if your goals change.
Sure.
Because someone who is working hard or wants to do something, that you also, I think these kids have a lot of pressure that one day you may wake up and realize that it is a lot, or it's a lot of work. 100%. And I just want to be a normal kid. Not that you're not normal if you play a sport, but it does take a lot of dedication and hard work. And that I want them to know that it's okay that you can change your mind at any time, because though I love it and it's fun for me and it's my identity is being a baseball mom, they have to put the work in. They have to want it. They have to love it.
They do.
And I don't want them to ever be afraid to decide it's no longer for them and be like, I don't want to disappoint my parents. I don't want to disappoint my coaches. I don't want to disappoint my teammates, because at the end of the day, you get one life. It is short and you have to make it a happy one. And so if one day you wake up and that passion, love, and it doesn't feed your soul, it's okay to know that it's about you and your happiness.
Right.
And that's something for me that I think it's important that to tell myself that, because if that day comes, but also for them to feel comfortable to not be afraid to say, I just don't want to do it anymore.
100%.
And I think that's something I want my kids to know, that that's okay too.
Yeah, 100%. In fact, Jenny, I just dealt with that. I mean, I feel like Drew and I always check in with them. Check in with the kids to make sure, because honestly, I know you said that like this is how you identify. Like, I don't really identify as a baseball mom. I more just identify just as a mom to my kids, because I don't ever want it to be, I'm not worried about Cooper ever stopping baseball, but if that came to a point, I love him for way more besides him being a baseball player. He brings a lot, he brings a lot more individuality and love to our family that is completely separate that he has anyway, that whether he played baseball or not, but we do regularly check in on him. But we just dealt with this with Scout, my girl, who we don't talk about a lot because she's a girl and she don't play baseball. I've been her coach year round since second grade, and I've always coached her year round, and that was my mistake. She got burnt out last year. And she dealt with some health issues too that I think contributed to that. But she got burnt out and she didn't go out for the high school basketball team. And she had to like text our coach, who is always our varsity coach, who's always followed her and been a cheerleader to her. And she just said, I just don't find joy in it anymore. And so many people thought, oh, Tiffani, because I've been with her so long and I played basketball. I don't live vicariously through my kids. I know there are parents out there that do. I've had my time as a college athlete. Drew's had his time as a college athlete. If that's not their path, that's not up for us to decide.
Correct.
So everybody was just like, were you so sad? And I'm like, no. The burden it had taken off her shoulders, being able to come to me and Drew and say, I don't want to play anymore. And then being able to text the varsity coach and being honest with her. It's like completely different. Now, she's just like, I was so worried you'd be upset. But no, I don't want, I was like, Scout, I love you for who you are. I don't love you because you played basketball. I do want her to do something. I told her, pick up something. But I don't, so many kids probably feel pressured from their parents to do that stuff. And Drew and I are not those type of parents. Like, I get it. I don't get it. But if people want to do that, that's fine. But we're not that way. And people were expecting me to be so devastated, and I wasn't. I'm just like, she's healthy. She's happy. I don't want her to play a sport because she thinks I want her to do it. And she got burnt out.
And I think that's the thing. I identify in a lot of ways, but then I think because I love it so much and we spend so much time, and it's one of those things I realize a lot of people are like, so what's your hobby? And I'm like, watching my boys play baseball.
Yeah.
That's my hobby. That's my hobby. But then I also realize that the advice when I give it to them is so true, because my oldest son is in a fraternity down at school, and we go down and mom's weekend, and I'm like, I identify that, I'm a Sigma News mom, and there's so many things. I have one of my best friends in the world. She had kids earlier. I had my kids later in life, and she had hers a lot earlier. And she is recently a grandma.
Oh my gosh.
And he is the
That's
cutest thing
awesome.
ever. But she's now a grandma. Like, she identified, and she said it's the best thing ever. And so there are things
Everybody
I know that
says that.
when this phase goes on, whatever it be, if my kids decide in high school, outside, play through college, don't play whatever it is, it's a season of life. You go through it. You may mourn a part of, because it was a part of you, but there are so many more like amazing things to come, and we'll grow. So I'm excited about, in general, being a mom. Like you said, at the end of the day, the greatest joy is that part of it for me, is just being a mom. So I just want my kids to be happy. I want them to be good people. I want them to go and do things that make them happy. So
that's what it's all about. You heard it from us.
You heard it here first.
Yes.
So, that's something fun to end on.
Yeah.
Be a good person.
Be a good
Today,
person.
actually, I want to say it's National Kindness Day.
It is.
I just now realized that. So, on that note, if you have not done something kind for somebody else today, do it. Maybe you pay it forward and you buy someone something in the drive-through behind you. Maybe you open a door for someone. Maybe if you're that person in the elevator that's uncomfortable, smile for 1 second at someone.
Good job, Jenny.
Text somebody that you haven't texted. Text your kids and tell them how proud you are. Whatever it is today, National Kindness Day, do it.
I love you even if you don't play baseball.
And I will end with this. My thing is, I'm thankful for Tiffani and the time we get to spend together.
Oh, it's so awesome. I've missed you. It's been a while
so.
since we've been doing this. Thank you.
Yeah.
I loved keeping up with you, and you run the show. I told Brian that
keeps
before
saying that. She's so
She
sweet.
does. I just
Drew
go off what
keeps
he
us
said.
in line.
Drew, I think you need to be kind to me and Jenny. Say something nice to us.
You need to do a better job.
Why do you need to do a better job, though, Drew?
Keeping you in line.
Me or her? Both of us? Do you like my hat?
Oh my goodness.
Okay, thanks, Drew. Drew, stop giving me a thumbs up. Say yes, so our viewers know you like my hat. You don't? I'm gonna smack you.
You guys, we are getting ready.
We're gonna
Shiny
go.
rabbit, gold,
Yes.
glittery goldfish, whatever it is, we're there.
Glittery
So
goldfish, I like
before we get too crazy, we're gonna end it. Have a great day, and until next
Jen.
time, see you then.